Well, you are listening to session 86 of Primordial Harmony, a retelling of the classic Elemental Evil Dungeons and Dragons story. My name is Mike. I'm running this, and tonight I am joined by...
Hello, my name is Miles. I'm playing Chadicus Windrip. I'm a human druid.
I'm Nyx, and I play Naughty Bite, and she's a Tabaxi monk.
And I'm Kitties, and I play Ren, and she's a Goliath barbarian.
Hi, I'm Sana, and I'm playing Snow, the elven cleric.
Hey, I'm Zephin, and I play Vardik, the hobgoblin vengeance paladin of the army of Dick.
Illustrious, yes.
May they rest
The
in...
family of Dick.
May they rest in peace.
Pieces of dick everywhere, man.
Well, so I've given a recap of sorts for this time period in the game before, so I'm going to review in a different way.
In song.
No, just a little more lighthearted. Gordon's task force left on the same mid-morning that the excavators did, going southwest toward Tomerer because of what the excavators told them about Riordan in the council with Gordon. Riordan, a ranger and member of a group called the Order of Lichen, petitioned the excavators for help, claiming that, in the confines of Conadir Forest, some sort of monsters were rampaging and lighting fires. While the stewards of the forest, the Order of Lichen, fought desperately, more and more these creatures appeared. Riordan went to seek out the powerful group that Randir spoke of to the Order. So, while the excavators decided to follow up on the stolen earth elementals, clearly stolen by the Black Earth cult, Gordon's task force took it upon themselves to become firefighters. So here you are, the 23rd day of the month of Kythron, headed southwest on the Silch Road, Forstride at your backs, and Stoneflame joining you for more action. The music bot. There you go. Let's see. So you guys are starting to head out of Forstride. Once Stoneflame caught up with you, he says, "So where are we going again?"
What are you doing here?
What? I'm joining you. I can't let you have all the fun.
Yeah, you are just a fun sucker.
He kind of screws up his expression and says, "What do you mean by that? What did I do to you? Why are you so mean to me?"
You do not remember nothing, do you?
He looks around at the party as if they would help.
They do not know about your past. I have not told them, but I will be happy to tell them about how you almost drowned all of our sheep.
It was an accident! It was an accident, and it's why I left.
Well, you know that Goliaths are not very forgiving. You will have to earn my forgiving.
Fine, I will earn your forgiving, but I'm still coming with you.
Please. It is a public road.
It is. So we are heading westward, I think.
More southwest or northwest? And then he looks and sees how the road splits like immediately after leaving town.
I remember correctly, we were checking out the Conadir for this team.
Come again?
If I remember correctly, we were checking out the Conadir forest with this team. That's what we were doing.
That's what I reviewed, yeah.
So yeah, I'll tell our Goliath friend that we are heading southwest for time.
He starts walking in that direction, just striding on, his long legs carrying him.
He's a poor eagle.
I'm having trouble
Oh,
hearing you,
shall we?
Miles.
I'll adjust that. Give me a second.
Stone Flame,
Yes, he says, turning
perhaps
around.
you should stay on the road and not walk directly to the forest.
He looks down, and then he takes a couple of big steps to his left. Yeah, his left. Alright.
We have to go to the village first to speak to the people to see what directly is the issue. Then we go into the forest.
He looks back, and he nods with a bit of a smile, and then he continues just stamping forward, following the road.
Hardik, you are a very smart warrior.
Thank you. You should forgive him. He seems to be very forgiving.
He drowned out all our crops too.
It's how this
People are very hungry.
was this a long time ago?
It depends on how long you say long time ago is.
Did all your people survive this?
That is debatable.
Actually, the state of life and unlife is quite suspended at one moment, like death. Did anyone die in particular in this occurrence?
Well, there were some really old people that did not make it, but they were not very strong.
I see. So in your culture, you do not venerate the old.
We don't what?
Venerate the old.
What is this venerate?
That means if you treat someone with a great deal of respect because they of their age, their wisdom.
We treat strength with that. That's what we celebrate. And not ruining the crops and the sheep.
I think you could forgive him eventually.
I am going to let him prove that he's worthy.
Yes. Okay. Sorry to intrude on your disposition towards Stoneflame.
Oh, no worries. He is just... Yeah, he is the Stoneflame.
He seemed quite capable, as much as I've seen so far. Be useful in the forest.
We will see.
The floor is open to any more vignettes you want to engage in. You all make your way down the road to Tomerer. This is going to be a little silent because it's twilight when you enter Tomerer. The air is very dry, and you can all just begin to notice the scratchy tightness at the back of your throats. Smoke is in the air. You see very few people walking about the main road. Let me bring you to the Tomerer map. Oh, I did do that. Excellent. You see very few people walking around about the main road. What you recognize from the iconography displayed around it as a way shield station here is locked tight. The windows shuttered. Behind it, a few more buildings and a stone tower about 3 stories high. As you pass shops that have closed down for the evening, the small vegetable field, your attention is drawn to your right. Firstly, there's an open shrine, indicated as such by a sign above the open archway that reads, "All who worship may do so here in peace." Down the lane, past the shrine, you see what appears to be a ringed mound of dirt surrounding a wooden platform with a small set of stairs leading up to it. The platform has many people standing atop it, cups in their hands, the fading light of day and torchlight illuminating them. What do you do?
I am really hungry. Do you think there is a place to eat here?
Stoneflame looks around and he sort of gestures with his maul towards the platform and says, "Could try over there."
Who are we supposed to rendezvous with here? Do we have anyone in particular? Is there a way shield station here? Or?
You passed by it, you saw it, and you see
we're in this.
You're here. So if you listen to my description, I said that you recognized the way shield station, but that it was shut tight.
Okay. Well, I didn't hear that.
Okay.
Perhaps it's too late. I don't see any guards.
Stoneflame turns to Snow and says, "What about your elf friend? Your other elf friend?"
My elf friend?
You know, the one that you came to Fourth Thread with. I don't know if he actually knows about the sending you sent her, but Snow sent a sending to Maeve, if you might recall way back when we played that.
Oh, right.
Check.
Check. You sound a lot better.
I changed from my headset mic to my actual one.
Oh.
That headset might be
Even for work.
yeah.
I could contact her.
Maeve would be the expert in this. Do we have any details on how to connect to her? Or is it just a sending?
It's just a sending.
Any direction to find them? I could also look around. I could summon some animals to go scout for us in some way.
Mike, did you say there was a group of people?
I did. Down here.
Where was that?
There's obviously a group of people that are treating this area as some sort of establishment of drink or dining. And
So we can see it where we at.
yeah, I have described that you guys are here, and that you can see down the lane to this wooden platform
I think that we should go get some food and some drink because I am parched. And plus, if we keep letting my stomach growl like this, they are going to think bears are in their city.
Oh, we can't let that happen.
I'm gonna send Maeve ascending. It just says, we're in Tomerer.
Well, maybe we could check with the inn guy. Maybe he knows something about the Maeve.
The what?
The elf. I never met her.
Oh, right. I keep forgetting my voice.
Are you all right, friend? Have you perhaps received too many concussions in recent days?
It's also.
I think I may have heat exhaustion from the walk.
It's also very.
Yes.
The air is also like it has that tinge of smoke. Like if you've ever been in a place that's near a wildfire, not directly in it, that's what the air is like when you breathe in and it gets at your throat and you're just like, ugh. And it feels like you have like a cotton ball nestled up at the top of your throat. That's what it feels like for your characters right now.
This is what cats feel like.
Also, your characters that you're playing don't remember, but to remind the players, the bar here burned down, and they're in the process of rebuilding. That whole episode with Lycia. Well, it looks like they're serving food over there, so let's go over there. And Stoneflame begins to walk that way.
I am going with the food. Ren follows.
I follow behind Ren.
It goes.
I follow them all as well.
Yeah.
So you guys arrive, and you get a couple of looks as you mount the stairs, and you can see that there's several makeshift tables made of larger tree stumps, like very shortcut logs, with chairs that are also upturned logs. And the only thing that looks like it's carpentried, that's a word, is the bar. And behind the bar is a just a human with trying to come up with a good adjective for his demeanor. He looks like he's just working. He doesn't seem to betray any emotion one way or the other currently. He does, in fact, look up, noticing you as you walk up onto the platform with the wood creaking a little bit. And he kind of takes a look at the party, and he looks from party member to party member to party member. And then he says, Oh, it's finally you lot. Your elf friend, Maeve, I think, left a note for you.
Well, we will graciously accept it. What is your name, sir?
Condret.
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 Well, it's very nice to meet you, Condret.
Condret, I must say, I love the aesthetic of your bar. It's very open range.
He frowns deeply. He says, Well, we don't really want it that way. It used to be a lot more constructed.
Oh, my apologies.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I think when we get more wood coming in, when we start really constructing the place, we'll leave a patio. There wasn't a patio before.
Vardic kind of goes through his pockets and realizes that he has no money. I hope you get it done.
Thank you. And he fishes under the bar and he hands a... What does he hand them, kitties?
He hands him a really short note from Maeve. And it says, "Dearest friends, I have been through Tomerer and have found my love. We're fighting with the Order of the Lichen to fight the forest fires in the Conadir forest. Let me know when you arrive. Best, Maeve."
But that was very strange. You read it just like her.
What?
You get your voice that high.
That's funny.
Well, I guess we should go in the forest. A barkeeper, what's in the forest?
He sniffs and then kind of lets out a cough. And he says, "Oh, I wouldn't go in there if you didn't have great reason. The owner of the wood cutting company says that there's a fire deep in the woods. I wouldn't head in that way." And you hear a couple of murmurs from the other people around the open air tavern. They sound like murmurs of agreement. You also notice now, sitting at the bar, a couple of seats down, is a gnome who is staring into his cup and not really paying attention to anything.
Oh, but he seems to be withholding something. I'm gonna go. Hello there. Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hi there. My name is Vardik.
He looks at you and he sort of shies away.
No. Oh. He lowers his head a little.
Vardik. And he sort of
Sorry,
blinks.
I don't mean to. I'm sure you're used to seeing. Oh, sorry, you're not used to seeing my kind around here.
Not in particular, but it wouldn't be the first time I've seen a hobgoblin.
I hope my cousins treated you with respect.
He says, "Well, actually, a long time ago, I made good friends with a hobgoblin. He helped me and my companions. We were in a rough spot."
What clan was he a part of?
He thinks for a moment, and he says a name that you sort of recognize as a clan that, I want to say adjacent, but just a clan that you're familiar with.
Okay, so he's not a dick.
No.
Okay. Oh, that is a familiar name to me.
A little bit more comfortable, the gnome turns around and he takes in the lot of you, and he just kind of shakes his head, and he says, "Well, my name is Landok."
Pleasure to meet you, Landok. I'm Vardik. These are my friends.
Hi, Londoc. I am Ren.
And Snow.
Greetings, my name is Paticus Winthrop. I think we'll be just passing through, but it's nice to meet your acquaintance anyway.
He says, kind of squints, and he looks up into the sky, and he says, "It's quite late. How long have you been traveling?"
We just arrived from 4th Stride.
"That's a day's journey. Actually, it's more than a day's journey. You must have really hoofed it."
Well, Stormflame and I have really long legs, so it makes the travel very fast.
This is true. And
You are only other gnome I've ever met in my life, and that has been in the last couple days.
Oh? What other gnomes have you met?
Oh, when we were in the fourth stride, there was this really sweet little wizard gnome named Delia and her friend who played really good music hum.
When you
They were
mention those
really
names, his eyes kind of go wide, and he says, "You're friends with the excavators."
What?
well,
Yes.
we were working with them. These guys are friends with them. I am brand spanking new.
He sort of looks down and he mutters something to himself, and he sort of wrings his hands, and he says, "Would you mind coming with me?"
Can we grab like I don't know half a sheep or something because I'm really hungry.
Oh, sure, and I can whip up some dessert if you'd like.
Oh, I love dessert. Do you not like desserts, though?
I would like to leave this place. People keep staring at us.
People will always stare, Vardic. You are
Yes.
good. You are a good warrior. You do not worry about that.
Condrit says, "Well, would you at least care for a drink?"
Sure. Mike, this whole time I don't look him directly in the eyes.
Okay. He says that to everybody, and he has pulled out 6 steins, as if to hope.
Well, you just carry them all around you.
Well,
Or is this the barkeeper talking?
wait, what?
I'm confused.
The barkeep is saying this to the group.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I thought you were talking about. Okay. All right. Everyone,
Yeah.
I'm particularly fine, but thank you for the gesture.
He takes a stein, puts it back under the bar. And he looks at the rest of the party, hopefully.
Snow shakes her head.
Another stein, puts it underneath the bar.
I would like to, but he just kind of like checks his pockets again.
And then you see Snowflame's like
Oh.
looking and says, "What, do you not have any coin?"
No.
I'll pass over a gold to the barkeep. Whatever he wants to drink.
And Stoneflame sheepishly looks at Snow and says, "I just remembered I don't carry any coin either."
Him too.
What? You don't have any coin? He says to Snowflake.
I usually don't need to carry it.
Rolly Stone Flame.
What? And then he looks at Snow and he bows. And he says, "Thank you, my elven friend."
I will also take the stein of something to drink. And what are you feeding people tonight? You have any food?
He says, "Well, we've got some sheep mutton in. Not particularly.
Oh,
I've dressed it up as much as I can, but the meat itself it's a bit tough."
I am tough too. It will be fine. How much? Here are 2 gold pieces. You give me that the food and the drink, and I'm hoping this will cover it.
This is well more than enough for half of you.
Well, you keep the chain so you can build this, because it's kind of weird. The bugs are everywhere.
You actually say that, and you realize that there are not bugs everywhere.
Well, there is something flying in the air.
It's true enough. That smoke. It seems like it got closer yesterday. And he goes and starts to prepare this food. You see, like, they have an open air kitchen. He just walks back, and there's already like an oven, and he goes in the oven and he starts preparing the food. This takes a few minutes, so if you want to have any talk. you just hear murmurs of people.
Mr. Longdock, how long has the forest been on fire?
He sort of slumps his shoulders and takes a very... He tries to take a deep breath, but then his breath catches because of how bad the air is. Well, a couple of days now.
Couple of days, but I don't see any flames. If it's been burning, are the woods that big?
Conadir is a big forest.
We've only ever gone around it. It takes several days, but
He says, yes, but something's burning, but it seems like... And he sort of looks toward the forest. He says, hopefully they're stopping it so it doesn't spread. But something is still burning. And then Condred comes back and hands plates of food and steins for those who wanted it. And then he leans towards Snow, who's a little bit out of the way, and he says softly, "He's had that same cup all day, and he's been doing nothing but nursing it." He says that with implied air quotes, and then he goes and he checks in with another customer at the bar.
Was he talking about Londoc?
He was, yeah. Stoneflame starts digging in.
Ren is all the way in the plate, just shoving food in her mouth very fast.
Londoc, would you like something to eat?
He says, no, I'm fine. I've got food at my tower.
you should have some. Oh, it's good.
Uh,
He says with his mouth full.
I'm alright, thank you. He says this as he, does look you in the eye.
And then he catches a glimpse. Oh no.
And, the thing is, you get the exact same impression from him.
Oh god.
And this is fresh. But it's not... It's not the same, but you can tell that he's had quite a scare recently.
He just, I think with that, he would his eyes would narrow at him, and he'd just give him a knowing nod.
He acknowledges the nod, and his shoulders just tense up and then slump.
Mr. Longdock, you look really sad.
He says, and then he kind of crouches down, and he leans towards Ren, and he says, something's happened that I'm quite worried about.
Oh, should we wait to talk about it till we get to the dessert?
Probably a good idea.
I can keep my mouth shut. I know I don't look like it, but I am really good at it.
Stoneflame pats your back as you cough.
Sorry.
And you're still wearing armor, so it's clank, clank, clank.
Yeah.
I don't know what was so funny, but I would really like to know the joke.
Oh, it's just, the travel. I was very hungry, and I choked on a piece of the meat.
Oh, I guess that is okay then. You should really eat slower.
You're one to talk.
I am not choking on my food.
You're not eating fast enough.
Once you clean your plates and empty your steins, Londoc kind of looks over and says, right then, you ready to come over?
You are not going to finish your ale?
He looks down at it, looks up at Ren, looks down at the ale again, and then he just quaffs it. Ah! Ah! He rubs his, or he wipes his mouth with his wrist. Alright. He hops off of the bar, or hops off of the stool, and then says, "This way, please."
Acquiesce and follow him.
We give chase.
We give chase.
Ren kind of bumps Stoneflame a little bit.
Yeah, he says.
Let's go.
"I'm going," he says as he puts the stein next to the plate, and he says, "Mr. Condret, it was delicious, thank you." And then Condret turns around and waves and says, "Thanks for stopping by." And Condret leads, sorry, not Condret, Londoc leads the party around the well, over the lane, and to his tower, which is made of a sort of stone that doesn't look like regular masonry, you notice as you approach.
Ren kind of looks at the door. Is it it's a gnome door, if I remember correctly.
It is a gnome-sized door, but a little bit taller than a gnome-sized door.
Turns to Stoneflame and says, this may be a little tough.
He kind of appraises the door and says, "I've crawled through worse."
Oh, if you could do it, I can.
And you hear a slight chuckle from Londoc, and he says, "Don't worry about it. Anyone who I wish it can fit through this door." And he opens the door and he enters.
How wide is this door?
Does the magic account for wide?
Height is one. Width is another.
It looks like Chadicus is at least going to have to breathe in and squish himself. He'll definitely have to squeeze.
Is information completely pertinent to our mission?
Could be.
If that is the case, I will prop myself up and sidle kind of next to the door.
You
I'll
find that-
begin making.
You find that there's just a little bit of resistance, and Londoc gives a curt look at the door frame, and then suddenly it's totally easy to just slip on through.
I slip on through. Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
This is a special door.
Well, follow Chadicus in.
He lets the party in, and he closes the door. Says,
How slumped over is Ren at this point?
not too bad. Her head is like maybe 5 inches from the ceiling, standing upright.
Oh, wow. This is a tall room. I was totally not expecting that. Thank you for having us here, Mr. Londoc.
He says, "Not the problem. I just needed to make sure somebody knew about this that wouldn't overreact or call me insane." He shakes his head. He says, "I had a strange visitor last night."
Is that what's leading to your distress?
Very much so. I was essentially robbed.
Oh, that is terrible.
He then takes a look at a lot of you, and he says, he sort of peers at Vardic, who, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Gordon did hand out little emblems that had the Way Shield iconography on it. So you all have a little emblem talisman thingy to mark that you are a member.
Yep. I remember.
He peers and he says, it is probably very relevant to you. Well, you know what? I need Wowitica for this. He says, he says, just give me a moment. As for the dessert, I have some cinnamon bread baked. It should still be moist. It's sitting in the oven.
Oh, I love cinnamon.
If you look in the cabinet over there, there's a knife and a couple of plates. Help yourselves. And he starts heading up his stairs. And you see him walk up through what is sort of like a trap door that leads to the next story. And you hear a chunk.
I do not like that this man has been robbed. He seems very nice.
Very hospitable. If we can, we should help him by finding the criminal.
And smashing them.
Yes.
It's very likely that someone his size, because he would need to let them to the door if they were larger.
Well,
Just true.
it is possible for somebody to scrunch and squeeze through the door like a normal humanoid. But
How would my house?
what? maybe your size might have some trouble. So he comes back down, and he carries in his hand what looks like a satchel and something else, and he shows you a same emblem of the Way Shields. So, he rubs the back of his head. Last night, a spellcaster broke into my home. 2, actually, by the look of it.
2. How does this emblem fit in?
I'll get to that. They requested a certain couple of items from me, and I was so tired and, well, outmatched that I couldn't just not comply. My life was on the line, you see. And it wasn't just them either. They had a dragon with them.
A dragon?
He nods.
What
A real
kind of dragon?
Dragon?
Well,
How did a dragon get in your door? It looked
No,
like
no.
Mr. Atticus couldn't even fit in.
He shakes his head. No. The dragon was outside. And I don't think, they used him, or he... Doesn't even make sense. The dragon let them use him as a threat to get me to comply. Obviously, if he had just breathed on the town, it wouldn't exist anymore.
Well, you obviously had to comply for the safety of everyone, so what did this individual look like?
One of them was a woman with blonde hair. She was wearing a pair of robes that were a dark red with a sort of flame pattern. The other was a human man with the similar sort of robe. Sorry, I'm checking my notes.
What did the dragon look like?
It was kind of tough to see. He was out my window, but I think he was a red dragon. Definitely large enough to be an adult, which is exceedingly dangerous. And he describes the other person with him as a man with short brown hair. And he was very, very keen on using flames to intimidate. He loved playing with fire in his hands. I think they actually spoke each other's names. I didn't get much sleep last night, so it's hard to keep the story straight.
Well, what do you remember of their names?
I don't think the woman had her name spoken, but she commanded the man. I think it was Ignacio.
I don't think I've ever heard of that man.
Who is Ignacio?
Knowing look to Snow.
I saw that, Chadukas.
He traveled with us for a while.
Well, that explains this. He left this on my nightstand.
What is... Oh.
Why would he leave that?
Beats me.
Sounds like he's a traitor.
Well, he tried to get a couple of things from me. A couple of magic items. One was it's called a portable hole. It looks like a piece of fabric when you're not using it, but when you are using it, it becomes this magical hole in the ground that you can use to store things. He says, he asked if I had anything else, and I thank the stars that he must have been tired too, because, well, I lied. And he produces the satchel. He says, you might fare better with this than leaving it here with me.
What is this?
This is a common term is a bag of holding.
Oh my goodness.
What does it hold?
What doesn't it hold?
It can hold anything up to about... It's strange how it works. It works on weight instead of volume. You can hold up to 500 pounds worth of material within it.
That is strange. How do you fit 500 pounds in that?
You just place it in, and it magically puts it into a small compartment that is in a... They call it a demi-plane. How familiar with magic are you, my hobgoblin friend?
Well, I was never magically inclined until my last near-death experience. And now I'm able to heal wounds. I can summon radiant light from my weapon.
A cleric.
It's like I hit things, and then the anger courses through me, and it explodes in light.
He says, not too familiar with divine magic, but sounds like something extraordinary.
I can also make a similar effect with like flames or lightning. Or I can assault people's minds with a similar effect.
He just sort of listens and then says, right, well, he says there's a little bit more to what's going on in Conadir. He says, I fear the danger to Conadir Forest is much more dire than simple forest fires. I don't know how they managed to convince a dragon to join them.
You think this dragon is in the forest? He says as he starts to get like there's a bit of excitement coming in his voice.
He says, if there's a dragon spending all of its time using its flame breath on the forest, I have no doubt that Conadir would be ashes already.
Oh,
Dragons are particularly headstrong. They don't like to be ordered around. They must be using some other method.
well,
Perhaps they slew the dragon.
What was that? What did you say, Chadicus?
Or perhaps they serve the dragon.
That's an idea. I don't know. All I know is I would appreciate if you took that out of here, but I would also appreciate a bit of powerful company this evening. You look tired. I'll let you sleep here in my tower, and you can leave fresh in the morning.
well, we do not have anywhere else to stay, and you've already been so hospitable. I think the least we could do is give you some semblance of safety throughout the night.
I will make sure you are protected, Mr. Wanda.
He says that he hefts his greatsword.
Bondak, walks over to his couch and just, collapses on it. He says, I really appreciate it. And he says, how are Hum and Delia? They blew right through town earlier, a couple of days ago.
There was lots of danger, but they took care of it. You know, they are very fine warriors.
He nods. Good.
It is kind of troubling that there's a traitor amongst. Is it really among? Kind of worrying that someone is besmirching our name.
Stoneflame then says, well, Gordon only gave us one of those emblems, so it seems like he just wanted to get rid of it. Maybe some sort of weird intimidation thing.
That does sound weird. Do you know him? He turns to look at the rest of any of you know this Ignacio?
He was a traveler with us for a while. He did seem disturbed in a way, but not in this fashion. This is surprising to me. He might be controlled of some sort.
I always knew he was a coward.
He does sound like coward. We should kill him. Really bad.
Yes, we should kill him. But what is worrying is, do you think that he is acting of his own accord, or if they have something over him?
He sounds weak of mind if he has let them take him over.
Well, Ren, I've never actually seen a dragon, but I imagine they're quite intimidating. You said that he was an acquaintance of yours, perhaps.
I do not know him at all.
Sorry. Snow said that he was an acquaintance of theirs. If maybe he felt like they were in danger and he had to go with them.
When did you lose him?
He sort of departed midway on a trip. It was when...
It was right after, it was on the way to Force Stride after you guys got that sending from Gordon. After GTF had left the...
Oh, he just kind of vanished, right?
Mm-hmm. As far as you know.
For all we know, he could have been with us just to...
Spy.
and gather information.
It is an
Did
unsettling
you-
possibility, but we won't know until we find him.
Did you know him well?
Heavens, no.
Well, okay, you probably will not mourn him when he dies then.
But do you think that leaving this emblem was intimidation or a message?
Oh,
Message for sure.
I guess.
Might I cite that gesture and see if I can gain an inkling towards it? Mike?
Yeah, sure. Roll. You want to roll insight?
Yeah, I'll go for it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's public now.
Did you want to roll in public?
It doesn't matter. We can just tell him it's a 19.
It's a 19. 19. It was so from your interactions with Ignacio in the short time that you traveled with him and fought with him, you get the distinct feeling that this is definitely a message. What it means, it's hard to say. You can feel your mind slipping to speculation, but you feel with certainty that it's a message.
Feels like it's a message of some sort. Not sure if it's a warning or if it's something more communicative, but it is in trying to impart something to us.
Yes. He's saying he's not one of us anymore.
Possible, yes.
If he wanted to leave a message, why didn't he just write a note? Like your Maeve friend.
Well, if he's in danger, I mean, writing down a note probably wouldn't work.
Oh, that's true. He was with another... Wait, you said blonde woman? Yeah. Oh, I remember her. She didn't bother me when I was in the temple.
Wait, she was in the temple.
Alright, so...
Do I remember seeing that woman?
Yes. Yes, Vardic does. And you remember... You might actually remember her name. You can roll a... history check? History is not the right skill, but I mean it's recall, so intelligence.
Intelligence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Boy, I should have come up with a DC before I asked you to roll. Oh, you know what? Yeah, okay. That's right. I had to remember. I had to roll my own recall check. You do remember her name. You remember how it was actually her that recruited your clan. And among other creatures to act as guards and just hired muscle for the fire or for the eternal flame cult. Her name was
Lizzie.
which is short
I
for...
remember her name. Her name is Lizzie. She hired us, the clan Dick, as well as many other, to guard that place.
The name Lizzie is short for... Lysandra.
Lysandra, that's it.
So we're dealing with cultists. It's appropriate for what they told us.
Stoneflame says, well, I mean, it seemed pretty clear that setting a forest fire is a cultish thing to do.
There's many things. There's people who might be for business interests.
I can't understand you. You need to open your mouth more.
My mouth more.
Your mic is still kind of weird. I don't know what's going
Yeah,
on.
it's like you're mumbling. It's like you're a mumble rapper.
I can max out my end. I need that.
That might be a connection issue, like server issue.
Either that or a physical hardware connection issue.
Testing.
You sound good now. Wherever your mouth is, keep it there when you talk.
I have been. That's the thing. And I'm hardwired into my Ethernet, so I really don't know.
All right.
But I have been seeing the connection bar go down and up, so it's really weird. I think it might be on my ISP side.
All right. Well.
Well, I was saying that, cults, yeah, they light stuff on fire. That's very much.
Fires are very dangerous.
Well, their thing was, I remember hearing their whole thing was just turning the world to ash. They like to say that a lot. Turning the world to ash. For the coming of a what do they call it? The leader that we killed. She called on a powerful being known as Imix. Zachariel might have talked about him a little bit.
Yeah, they never shut up about him in Temple.
Oh, so we know their charge, and we know what they're trying to do. Do we have any idea of where they're doing these things? Besides the forest, generally.
Well, yes. You know exactly where. Well, I know exactly where. And so does Stormflame.
I do.
But we wiped out almost all of them, I believe.
We did. We took down all of them, and we broke a lot of things. So, if it's either they're moved back in after we left, after only a couple of days, or they moved into the forest.
That is quite impressive, Stoneflame. You did that?
Well, I was with the excavators. They're all very, very proficient warriors as well.
Oh, okay. So they helped you do that. You didn't do it.
I helped them. We help each other. It was a collaborative effort, but I did kill a lot of them.
How many?
Mike doesn't remember.
Bear back.
He says, like...
But Stoneflame would remember.
Stoneflame would remember, and it's probably a number between, 10 and 15. And that was just the big fight in the middle.
Oh, Stoneflame. That is incredible.
He stands akimbo, and he's got a big smile on his face, but then it sours as he's like, wait a minute, are you making fun of me?
Well, I did kill 8 gnolls on my own on the outside of the gate.
Okay, that's good for you.
Yeah, but deep in that fire temple, they had ogres and these giant flaming...
There was an
creatures.
ogre?
Yes, they stormed through this giant wall of sand that Zachariel summoned, and they killed almost all my friends. Oh, God.
Oh, Mr. Vardic, I am so sorry. You are a brave warrior for getting through that.
The worst was the cultists with the fire. They wouldn't stop laughing.
They're very rude. But then we killed them.
I am so glad you killed them. Maybe you are worthy of my respect.
He just kind of takes on a smile and he just gives a nod. And then you hear Stoneflame give a big yawn. He shakes his head and he says, "What do you say, Ren? One spar before we sleep."
Not in this great man's house. We can do it outside.
Okay.
But we must go outside and sleep and guard the door from dragons because we are big and strong.
I agree. And he starts to make for the door. Londok is sort of chuckling at this exchange.
I don't know why he does this. I always beat him.
Well, perhaps he's practicing.
It's quite handedly every time, actually. But either way, good to have
Oh,
gold.
Chadicus, you are so sweet to me.
Yes, particularly. Now, I, however, do not have any interest in going outside, so I'll be relaxing in here.
Do not worry, Mr. Chadicus. I will make sure you're safe overnight. I have my gray axe with me, and it will kick anything's booty.
Lythander bless you. This is very nice of you. I will now be resting my feet because the travel here was murderous on my cankers.
Outside, Stoneflame leans his maul against the base of the tower, and he takes a wrestler stance.
Why are you always so quick to get your butt kicked?
He says, "Today it is you who will be getting the butt kick."
Whatever.
Alright, so contested strength. And we'll just make this 2 out of 3 to make it real quick. So he rushes at Ben. And he ducks down at the last second, and he collides with Ren's midsection, and then lifts her up and slams her to the ground, knocking the wind out of her. Aha! And he backs away, and he starts to like tiptoe on his, or he starts to like bounce back and forth on his feet, letting her get up.
You are really trying my patience. She barrels at him. Just headed straight towards.
What is going on with these rolls today?
These are the exact same rolls.
He smirks with a knowing smile, and he's seen Ren do this before, and he takes a step back and redirects her movement and just makes her collide with the ground, and he pins her down, and he says, I got you this time. Come on, say it.
You are so lucky I'm full with sheep. If not, you better watch it, because you only won because I am not feeling up to and my head hurts.
It's true. I'm not as affected by the smoke in the air as you. I had a handicap, I'll admit. And then he makes a very bodacious, is that the right word? Gaudy, let's go with that. He makes a very gaudy bow. But Ren does detect a little bit of sincerity in that. He's just being silly about it.
You won this time, but this is only one time out of like 100.
The first of many. Or more like probably the
Do
second
not
or third.
count on it. You do not count on winning again.
And he sits down next to the tower. And he simply just he takes his maul, puts it over his lap, and he says, rest well, Ren.
Did you really have to fight lots of ogres?
Oh, yes. I mean,
how many were there?
Well, I believe that the ogres were mostly taken care of by the excavators, but I killed a lot of the cultists.
So you killed humans?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was really impressed when there was ogres, but
It wasn't the first time I encountered the ogres, though. I had to kill one of them at one point.
Okay, good night, Stoneflame.
Good night, Ren. Does anybody else want a vignette? I'll take that as a no. The night passes. It is eerily quiet. There is no birdsong. There are no bugs. There is just the slightly irritating, smoky air. I feel like it's a good time for a break since this is a natural pause. So we'll take a short 5-minute-er if you need to get a drink or pee.
A natural pause.
I'll be right back.
Assumptions, but
Yes, I will send a sending to her that we've arrived in Tomerer, staying with a gnome. Londot.
So Maeve gets her note and sends back a note that says, in Conadir Forest, helping Order of Lichen. Let me know if you all are coming to help.
I can do another sending. It just says, that's why we're here. Which direction should we travel into the forest?
Hey, Mike, would she be able to meet them at a certain area?
She would. Let me take Kitty's into private. My office.
Oh, chicken.
Oh no, I am in the trouble room.
The trouble room. So,
Groovy might have to be with us.
yes, need that ambience. So, Maeve and Rairden have traveled a direction that he knew that there was a spreading fire, and when he got there, he and Maeve assisted in taking down these strange monsters, which I will not spoil for kiddies, but they helped, and a couple of others that were of the Order of the Lichen, another couple of elves, wood elves, were mopping things up, and they directed them to go in a different direction to where the front, so to speak, was at its worst. So, as the party has arrived in Tomerer, they are heading in a different direction. I think that they would have already left, but the pair of elves that they were with gave them something that they really needed to have in order to withstand the effects of the smoke. So I think it makes sense for Maeve to have left a trail leading to that spot before meeting with the party.
Okay.
If that helps your message.
Yeah, I'm thinking actually.
I'm gonna have to cut this out.
It's okay. Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, what would she say to them?
I left a trail.
Oh, follow, yeah. I know. Follow the trail of what could she have left? See, now all I can think about is those ribbons you were talking about.
Which was something else completely different. Yeah.
I mean, because she's an elf, she wouldn't cut into the trees. Trying to think.
She could have taken up fallen branches and made something out of them.
Huh, I'm really struggling with that, actually.
I mean, it's not too difficult to weave fallen branches. She could have made like mini wreaths and then put them on trees.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Look for the leaf wreaths hanging on trees.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, no. Flash. Okay. I'm gonna take you back.
Hi. So
Welcome back.
Maeve's message to them reads, have moved from original location, leaving a path of leaf wreaths on trees to mark my way.
Or
I
just
will. I will relay that to everyone else. Maeve is leaving a trail for us to follow.
Oh, good. You'll find a friend and reconvene. Did she say what was causing this fire?
No, we can only speak to each other in a limited capacity using those spells.
Oh. Well, we shall find her. Then we can speak in the maximum capacity. I think my voice has changed again. What's happening?
I feel like Vardic is having trouble because of the smoke. So, night passes. And when most of you awaken, you find that Londok is passed out on his couch. But
Hi.
what's up?
At the crack of dawn, Bit is gonna leave and just go to the what's that place? The shrine.
Ah, okay. Dawn comes very early. Would anyone? Does it make sense for anyone to have noticed her slipping out?
Absolutely. Ren hears her walking out because
yes.
they're trying to guard.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going?
Just visiting the shrine.
Okay, don't get in trouble. And she goes back to sleep.
I won't.
The sun is in the sky, however, the blue of the sky is muted as it seems like more smoke has been getting thrown into the air. But you go to the shrine and peering inside, you can see what look like oil lamps burning in every corner, giving the place a fair amount of light because there are no windows except for the door. There is no door, it's just an opening. It's dusty on the floor, and along the walls are lines of wooden hooks hanging from several are holy symbols, a few rendered as amulets, but far more are wooden talismans on leather thongs. Many of the hooks are empty. There's a small bench on the far wall that looks like it would serve as a place to sit or a place to work, as there are a few tools, a whittler's knife, a small hand drill, and a pair of scissors sitting on the small shelf beside it. A spool of leather string also sits on the shelf as well. Redundancy. Oops.
Anybody else here?
It's empty.
I go and look at the hooks.
There's just several different carved wooden talismans with different holy symbols on them, and a few that are more fancy looking, made of metal, emblazoned on pewter, that sort of thing. Are you looking for one in particular?
I'm just looking to see if anything stands out.
How? I'm not sure what would stand out. All of the major deities and their religions are represented here. A few lesser known ones. You recognize some of them. You look at some and they look familiar to you, but you don't really know exactly the deity they represent. But nothing here stands out in particular.
And there's a desk?
Yeah, there's a little bench where you could make your own.
Bit just looks at everything. Just checking everything out.
Yeah. And then eventually she makes her way back, or time passes and the rest of the party wakes up. Stoneflame wakes up. He stretches. Time to get going, he says.
Yes, indeed.
Vardak will begin to don the armor of Dick.
The dick armor.
The armor of the plate mail of fallen dicks.
The plate mail of fallen dicks, yes.
I'm gonna take a moment to, like, Snow just centers herself, and I'm gonna prepare some different spells for today.
Okie doke.
Ren is going to take some time to sharpen her great axe.
I learned the potency of the spell Commune, and I just wanted to point that out to you because I believe you have access to it.
It's a very neat spell.
Just wanted to make sure you were aware of it. Bondog, huh? Yeah. Oh, I fell asleep on my couch.
Do you feel better now, though?
He knuckles his back. Aside from a crick, much better. Very good night's sleep. I appreciate your presence.
We appreciate your presence.
He smiles at that. He says, I hope you give him hell.
I will. I promise. It is very My throat is very scratchy today because that smoke is really bad.
It's a little bit worse than yesterday, it seems.
It's just like waking up in that temple.
Even the temple, there was lava, but they weren't consistently burning wood.
That's true.
It was mostly
It was not as poisonous.
It was mostly magic fire.
Magic fire.
Well, how else do you explain fire that burns without a fuel source?
Yes, they're a very strange place.
Are we going?
Say, Snow,
Yes.
would you like to stop by the shrine so you could pay your respects in the city to Oro? Maybe do your morning prayer. I don't know if that's how that works.
It is a kind thought, but I would feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
Is that it? Does Vardic just...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Bit's outside waiting for everyone.
I'll head outside to meet Bit. Well, good morning. You were up early at the fields?
Just checking out the shrine.
Ah, yes, the shrine. Well, wonderful. Are you prepared?
Oh, and the smoke makes it hard to breathe.
Is there more today? It's hard to tell.
Much more.
I'll trust your judgment. Well, we should make haste once the rest of them are ready.
How was the shrine? I was not aware you were a person of prayer. Yeah.
Oh God.
I'm glad you picked that up. No?
Yes, I am.
Oh, to whom do you pray?
To Teska, of course.
Of
Now,
course.
should we get going?
Jessica.
Teska.
Jessica.
I agree with Bit. We're burning daylight.
You sound like
probably
my
off topic joke.
grandpa.
Your grandpa was wise.
Yeah, he was a very wise
Stoneflame, perhaps burning daylight is a little on the nose for what's going on.
Is Vardic laughing, or is that Justin?
That's Vardic.
He laughs with him a little bit, and he says, this isn't very funny. There are poor creatures that are losing their homes. We should get moving."
You're right. You're right.
Oh, what about Longbottom?
The same.
Londa?
Neville.
Sorry, I was just watching Harry Potter.
Londoc. Londoc's at the
Londoc,
door, and
yeah.
he's just he's being gracious and watching you leave. He's waving. He's saying, "Good luck on your travels. Make use of the bag of holding."
Yes, I can't wait to see how many things add up to 500.
We could put Stoneflame in there.
I wouldn't advise that. There's only about 10 minutes of air in there.
Oh,
Again, we could put Stoneflame in there.
Hey.
I am just kidding.
Stone.
Hmm.
I think you could hold your breath for longer than 10 minutes.
He's. No.
No?
I can walk on lava, but I can't hold my breath for longer than any other Goliath of my stature.
Oh. Okay, you're so mighty, I thought that maybe.
Might we get going now?
Yes. He
He's
starts
The
to bark.
air is
pretty-
bothering my throat.
He is pretty normal, by the way, for Goliath.
Do all Goliaths have tattoos that turn different color?
Well, that is weird, but
Do all Goliaths have the strength to bash Noel into ground?
you want to watch? I
Yes.
can do that easy.
I can't wait to see it in the forest.
Can't wait to do it.
So how are we following Maeve? Says Stoneflame.
She left us, what was it, leaf wreaths
Yeah.
to follow?
You see Stoneflame like walking through and looking at each tree.
Leaf or reef?
If you'd like, you can roll a perception check. Or a survival check.
Is this everyone?
Yep, you're all there. You're all looking. This is something that can be dogpiled for sure.
Day. Let's see what we can do.
Maeve makes a good, very distinct object, and you all find it with ease. And you can tell that it's leading northwesterly. North by northwest.
These are really well made. They would make good cats.
Stoneflame takes one and puts it on his head. A hat!
It looks good with your tattoos.
Well, thank you. And he says,
By the way, who did your tattoos?
he, I'm not sure, Michael speaking, if Goliaths just have these markings or if they are tattoos. It's not present in any of the literature I've read.
No, you
means
pick it. Your world.
Yeah, which means I need to decide. I don't know, Kitties, what do you think? What sounds cool?
Well, I think in Stoneflame's case, he was born with them.
Well, in
because
Stoneflame's case, whether or not he was born with them, the tattoos he had turned this color. But he was a normal Goliath once.
I feel like the tattoos come with experience.
As a milestone, rite of passage kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And he points to one and he says, "Well, I got this one on my my 13th year, and I got this one on my 11th year when I did." And he starts listing off a few tasks as he starts walking through the undergrowth.
Vardig is listening intently.
And
So
then-
intently that he's not paying attention to where he's going.
Oh, you trip. What's where you're going there? And he helps you up. You guys find more wreaths, and you find enough to where everybody can have one of each and more. They're just enough of a size to work as a small, like, ring thing you can put what's the word? I guess tiara What do you call, like, that kind of,
Crown.
yeah, just like a small crown on your head. And
But I am wondering if we should probably leave these. Maybe they're not just meant for us.
Stoneflame has one in his hand, and he looks back at Ren and then just slowly puts it back on the small little tree branch nub he found it on. You're probably right. And he looks at the one on his head. Well, I'll put it back later. And he keeps walking.
Stoneflame is my hero.
The trail left by Maeve leads you to a clearing, but instead of a grassy meadow, you are met with a wide open space of ash and burnt trees. The sound of crashing rubble draws your attention to your left, where you see a cloud of ash flittering to the ground. A pair of individuals, about 200 feet away from you, seem to be excavating large chunks of earth and soot.
What do they look like?
They are pretty far away, so roll a perception check. If you want to discern who they are before you approach. You can vaguely see the familiar pointed ears of elven folk.
They look elven.
They're probably Maeve and her close ones friends. We should approach them. Stoneflame just starts walking toward them. Crunch, crunch, crunch.
I'll also follow.
That's following.
Diverted falls.
As you draw near, they turn toward you. You see, for sure, a pair of elven folk, a man with a longbow, arrow nocked, looking out into the trees. Not toward you, but toward the trees, apprehensive, while the other, a woman with a yew wood staff in one hand and an oak shield in the other. As you get closer, she says, "Greetings." The woman wears a cloak with a clasp that looks like a dark gray stone with bright green lichen growing on it. The bowman's leather armor is painted with different shades of green, making it appear as if lichen grows upon him. The woman says, "I am Lorea, and this is my..." Oh man, I don't have a word of address. His brother. And this is Brother Vilnadin. And he nods to them.
Greetings, Lorea. We are in search for a particular friend of ours. Are you familiar with
Maeve and
Oh.
Riordan. Yes. They passed.
They spoke of us.
They did. Well, Maeve did. This is the first time I've ever met Maeve. She's doing well, if you're worried about that.
I am very knowledgeable of her capabilities. I imagine she's doing well. I have also questions for, as a kind of like reference to the scorched area. When did this happen?
This was very recent. Very recent. Well, she looks at Vilnadin, and he just kind of gives a grunt. She says, "There is some sort of infection that is spreading through the ground. We know not exactly how. Embers are filtering up from the earth itself, and they are lighting trees on fire, but not only are they lighting trees on fire, these trees are coming to life. Are you aware of tree ants?"
I imagine Jadicus is.
He is, yeah. Imagine a treant who is burning but cannot die.
Sounds horrifically painful.
Her eyes kind of downcast, and she says, "There are several here recently. We've dispatched them, and now we are cleaning up." By the way, I didn't mention this, but it took you a day to get here.
Oh, okay.
Here. I don't usually track where you are in Conadir Forest, but too late now.
I appreciate the expediency of this travel.
Agreed.
Right back.
Are there any other locations in which this has occurred, and how far are they from this one?
Yes, that is where we pointed Maeve and Rayerden. The new front, she says, is south by southwest. It's across the river, and it's near the Hazy Hills.
And we see some sort of center point there, some epicenter.
We're not sure. There's a small pocket of them that appeared here, but other than that, there's a configuration, which is the appropriate word, that has been burning on the south, the middle south side of Conadir for the last couple of days. We've managed to keep it back, but I fear that there is more than just these flaming treants. The news that I have been hearing has been there are men that are stoking the flames as well.
Understood. Do the men harbor any iconography of the cultists?
She looks to her companion, and Bilnadin takes a small leather-bound notebook from a pouch on his belt, and he flips it open. And plain as day, you can see the symbol of the Cult of Eternal Flame, which is that one.
Very well. Appears you have most of the groundwork done for us. Thank you. I appreciate it.
She nods and says, "We don't take attacks on our home lightly. The Order of the Lichen has been working continually for the past 3 days. Any assistance you can provide will be appreciated."
We will do all we can.
Was Bardic about to speak?
Yeah, he just says, yes, we'll help.
She regards Vardic and sort of looks at him, and she gives a nod. And she says, she like regards the whole party again, and then she gives a look at Snow, and it's sort of a knowing, like, acknowledging that she is an elf look. I'm not sure if Snow would really catch that from her, but that's what she attempts to get across.
I'll notice her looking at me funny, and I'll just give her a nod.
Oh,
She nods back.
Oh boy.
She says, it seems that she looks at, like, your appearance, and she can tell that, like, you've been traveling all day, considering you're probably dirty and likely sweaty. She says, "You seem to have been traveling all day. You may rest here. We have not need for much rest ourselves, as we are elves. You can get yourselves a good night's sleep, and in the morning, you can head toward the front."
We greatly appreciate your advice. Thank you.
Varda looks at her and then looks at Snow. Is this true? You do not need rest?
We don't need as much rest as others.
What do you do with the extra time?
We watch, mostly. says the name. Where'd it go? Says Lorea.
He kind of looks at her and cocks his head a little bit. Watch, okay.
As in, she sort of forces a chuckle. As in, at night when we're traveling throughout the forest for danger, you understand?
Oh, yes, I understand. And his cheeks get a little bit redder. Yes, must watch the forest. Yes.
She smiles like a very, very subtle smile, and then she says, "We're going to continue for a bit longer. We're drawing a containment line, just in case there are more embers that we haven't been able to squash. But find any place that seems comfortable, and we won't be far away." What do you do?
You know, sleeping in the forest is a lot better than sleeping in that temple. Hard stone. Yeah.
That
Are
sounds
you all
like it.
okay? You seem very upset about something.
Sounds like that's a good thing that we don't have to sleep in the temple then. My throat is really scratchy.
Perhaps we should have brought some ale.
It's actually a little bit better here. You're finding. Not by much, but a little bit.
But we traveled all day hiking over things
true.
and that.
Is there any other vignettes you would like to do before I pass this night?
Do we want to do some of that commune stuff? Because those are rituals.
They are. But
Up to
you
you
have
guys.
you have to have a ritual prepared if you're a cleric.
Do I have to do that with mine as well? With nature? Because that's the idea. Rituals don't have to be prepared. You just have to add 10 minutes to them.
What?
Like ritual casting a spell, you just add 10 minutes to it. That's the idea behind them. You don't have to have them prepared.
No. But for classes that prepare spells from the entire spell list, you have to have them prepared. You just don't have to spend a spell slot.
Yeah, I have to have the spell prepared.
Let me check mine then, because I don't think I prepared commune with nature.
Pretty sure druids have the same mechanic rule.
Yeah, it has to be prepared. So I can get it tomorrow if we want to.
Up to you. Ooh, excuse me. So you guys set up a campsite, and maybe you dig into some rations. I don't know if you have a fire going, considering the circumstances. But
Oh my god.
You set up some sleeping areas, and you set up a very easy watch because you have more companions with you. And the night passes eerily quiet and without incident. Next day, as the morning comes, the sky is further muted from the summer blue that you're familiar with. The elven druid approaches Lorea, and she says, as like you're all getting up and getting your gear together, She has a small parcel, and she says, "It is important that you take these. When you enter the smoke and you need to fight, chew on one of these packets. It will clear your mind temporarily." She says, "If you wish to join your friend Maeve and the rest of our order fighting, head south by southwest until you reach the river. Follow it on its north bank until it bends west, then cross and follow the edge of the swamp. Where the fire is should be easy to find if you follow the smoke. That is where the danger is highest."
Thank you.
I'm back.
We will head that way.
I will say I prepared a Coming of Nature before we head off.
She looks to Chaticus and she says, "To explain, this is Taviami, and it's an herb that you're familiar with. And I will actually have an item card for this, and I will produce it."
Neat. What do I know about it? Any medicinal uses?
It has a very important medicinal use, but it could be quite dangerous in large enough doses.
Hell yeah.
Which is why they seem to be organized in small tea bag-like packs. This herb, normally used in a tea bag-like apparatus, clears the mind when under the effects of smoke inhalation. If you chew this packet for 1 minute, all effects you might be under due to smoke are ignored. And that's going to be relevant later.
Is there just a little bit or quite a bit?
There's an actual number here. There is enough for each of you, including Stoneflame, to have 3.
Ooh.
So mark that on your inventory.
How long do they act for?
A minute.
So they're only good for 1 minute in battle. So while we're chewing on them.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't take any action to do it. You just pop it. Your character can just pop it in their mouth, and then it'll do its thing. While
Interesting.
So each of us will take 3?
what's 3 times 6?
While we're moving through the forest, can I keep a passive lookout for more of them and try to collect them with my herbalism kit?
Sure. Roll. What kind of check would this be? This would be wisdom and proficiency, obviously.
So just my herbalism kit. I'll just press that then.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. Good going. You find along the way several patches of them growing on the forest floor.
I'll just kind of collect the ones that look like useful, and I'll try to make the tea bag apparatus whenever we have a time to rest or short rest or something like that.
Yeah. So this journey also takes a fair bit of time. However, put in some omelets. So, oddly enough, this part of the forest, aside from the smoke, is still pretty lively. There's still green in the air, and there's still green leaves and undergrowth, and even though the air isn't exactly fresh, it feels much cooler in this part of the forest than what you just walked through. Eventually, you do find the river, and I need my map. Eventually, you do find the river, and you follow it, and it's quite nice. Dog's barking. And you notice that it begins to grow dark, and you realize that you have been traveling for quite a bit, although you did take breaks and such. And yeah, Chaticus can have, using your herbalism kit, you can certainly make more packets of those things. I think it makes sense. Let's see, with that check. You make 9 more.
I ration them out to the group to give them extras.
But when you get to the river and it starts to bend from its southwest direction to a more west direction, you find that you're feeling the same tiredness to where you know that if you push yourself more, you would be, dealing with exhaustion rolls. You are at this river bend. What do you do?
Maybe we should make camp for the night. I'm really tired.
Agreed. There's little to gain by exerting ourselves.
If we continue on like this, we won't be in proper fighting shape, and then it will be really bad.
Oh, yes. It is the wiser tactical decision to rest.
And
Fortunately,
plus, I have to kick Stoneflame's butt tonight because he kicked my butt last night.
Well, no, that was
Or
the night.
the other
That
night.
was the night before. I didn't challenge you again because of the smoke. Are you challenging me now?
do you think the smoke is a handicap?
Oh, he is handicapped.
Oh, how about this? I'll take on the winner.
He looks at it.
Okay, I like that.
Deal.
He starts doffing his armor.
And Stoneflame finds a small clearing that's not too thick with undergrowth, and he sort of stretches his arms out. Okay, Ren. And he takes the position.
She does too, and she does that little hand thing where she challenges him to come at her.
All right. And he leaps forward, takes a couple of wide steps, and
She just slams him really hard into the ground, like you can feel the ground shake.
he
That felt much better.
moves to stand, and he says, "Good one, good one." And he goes at her again. Ooh.
And she does it again. Huh! I am feeling much better now. I do not know what happened at Mr. Wandog's house, but I knew that something was wrong.
He grumbles, rubbing the back of his head. You win, you win.
Oh, Mr. Vardy!
Yes.
You must wrestle me.
Oh.
Because Stoneflame lost.
Okay, well, all right, let's do it. And he gets in a really low, almost like a super low to the ground stance and spreads his body out wide.
Interesting technique, says Stoneflame, mostly to himself.
He spits something in an incoherent language.
You better not be using cheats.
I no cheat. Sorry,
You come back at me now, mister.
I'm sorry, I was telling you to bring it on a goblin.
Oh, is that what that meant? Okay, here I come. Oh, you are strong.
I imagine we do that thing that wrestlers do where they lock arms.
Yeah.
You could beat Snowflame.
And I could beat him too.
Are you ready, Mr. Vardick?
I'm ready.
She charges him again.
Ooh.
He,
Ren, oh, go on.
Oh, no, you go
Ren
ahead.
actually, her foot slips and she kind of like tumbles
I was just gonna
towards
say,
him.
like, she hits a exposed root, catches
So-
her foot.
When she tumbles and comes to a stop, he's gonna like come behind her in like a bear hug and get ready to throw her over him.
So she trips into his grab, and then he flips her over.
Well, he's gonna try to, and she might be able to break free, right? Because it's best way to free. Or not? Oh, I won. No, because tie win.
Tie is a tie, so it's still yeah.
It's 1-0.
Ooh.
And he wins.
This is definitely because of the difference in modifier too. This is definitely like a real struggle. But Vardic takes one lapse that Ren happens to give him, and wham!
It just like hip tosses her over.
Whoa. She almost had you, Vardic.
Mr. Vardic, I am very impressed from such a small animal, such a small person. You can do so much damage.
I don't know if I should be
Okay.
insulted or.
You must fight me now. Let's go, says Stoneflame.
Oh, sit down, Stoneflame.
hang on.
I already beat you.
I already beat the winner. Why would I fight the loser?
He says,
Ren laughs really hard and she says, "That is the funniest thing I heard all day."
I lost against Ren. I didn't actually fight you.
That's true. That is true.
But you lost.
Well, maybe I will win. And he gets up and he says, come on.
Well, it's for fun. Why not?
And he just immediately charges. Rolls are poopy.
Oh,
That root, I am telling you, on the ground.
Ah, don't blame the foliage. As he slams Vardic to the ground. And then gets up off of him. And then he takes position and challenges Vardic to charge him.
Vardic accepts, and he charges at him a little angry. Slammed into the ground.
Oh, I only used strength modifier. So he actually rolled a higher than that. But this is athletics. Oh, no. Not that time.
And he shoulder checks him.
And he slams on the ground, rolls back onto his feet. Ugh. Alright. And he stands up. And he says, you're quite strong. Let's try this again. And he says, why don't we both charge?
All right.
And he starts dashing toward Vardic. Crunch, 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 crunch. Ooh. Ah. So, you tell me.
I think they both charge at each other, and because there is that height disadvantage, Vardic is gonna he kind of crunches in low and runs with his arms underneath him like he's getting ready to do an uppercut, and he'll jump up and wrap his legs around Stoneflame's waist and use the momentum to push him down on his back.
Bam. Ah.
I totally saw that coming. It was great.
Ah.
That was a good fight.
That was... I couldn't be happier. And he pats...
He'll extend a hand to try and help him up.
He pats Vardic's shoulder. Yeah, and then he... well, because, of the way he was on him, I imagine he just, reaches around and, pats Vardic's shoulder.
How about you, Mr. Chadicus, or Snow, or Bite? Do you want to play?
I would have to cheat, so I will refrain from doing so.
You would have to cheat?
I would have to use some of my knowledge base, some of my magic, in order to have a fair chance of competing. If you wanted me to do so, I may.
You do magic. I forgot. Okay. I will kick Stoneflame's butt for you next time.
Next time you may not be so lucky.
By the looks of it,
Stoneflame,
you'll have to try to kick both our butts.
Well,
Is
in that
this
case,
just about
if you-
knocking one over?
Yes.
it is a fun game. Have you ever played this bit?
No, never.
How do you play with your kind? How do you prove who is stronger?
We
Does Bit get a haunted look in her eye?
yeah.
It is okay. Not every race likes to be stronger. Some are more cunning, and others have magic. And Snow has all the powers. She's kind of scary.
You know, Ren, I feel like I owe you an apology. You see, my people play this game good too. This is not my first time.
It is fine. I have been doing this since I was 5. Actually,
Nice.
earlier than that, because when Gorbash was very small boy, he and I used to play this game.
I think our
I
people
miss
probably have a lot in
Gorbash.
common.
I do too. You could be Goliath. You're a very strong warrior.
You watch as Stoneflame walks to the river, and he leans down and he like splashes water on his face. And
Incoming froggy myth.
And then he stands up, and then you see the water is steaming off of him. That was refreshing. Ah,
Such a show off.
what? I'm just washing my face. What?
Nothing, Mr. Stoneflame.
What do you mean I'm a show off?
You make the steam off of your body.
He looks up. I'm just very hot. I don't talk about it much.
It's true, you brought that up. Ren, you're always bringing up how hot he is.
No, I am not.
You do it all the time.
Only because he ruins things with his hot.
I don't know about that.
He'd probably make the river disappear.
He definitely ruined some of those cultists for sure, but that was like the better version.
There was this one time we were having a snowman, a snow Goliath building contest, and he walked right up to my snowman and melted it. He just stood there and melted it. I lost because of
For
him.
no reason.
I didn't mean to. He actually sounds very hurt when you mention that. I'm sorry, Ren.
I lost. It was very embarrassing.
Stoneflame goes silent and he finds a clearing and he sits down.
I am sorry I hurt your feelings, Stoneflame.
No, it is okay. It is why I was left. Why I was asked to leave. And so I left.
Well, not because you melted my snow Goliath.
No, it was the thing attached to it, my strange powers and such. Don't worry about it.
Where did you find those strange powers?
They just sort of happened.
You just woke up one day?
Well, there was a dream. He says, I dreamt that I was swimming inside a large mountain that spewed fire.
Oh, wow. Sounds like a very uncomfortable dream.
Oh, it was very painful. I don't like to talk about it much.
I should not talk about it then. Thank you for sharing.
He, we should probably get some rest, huh? And he looks at the rest of the group.
Yeah, I think you need some rest. You lost twice today.
I lost twice today. I must recover so I can win more tomorrow.
We'll see. Mr. Vardic is very strong.
Yes, he is. And,
I wonder if we can get Chadicus to cook. I'm very hungry.
Meanwhile, Verdict is thinking, I wonder if I can get tattoos like that.
Is that a scene you want to play out, or?
No, he's just...
No, I meant, sorry, I was asking Kitty's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna walk up to Chadicus and go, Mr. Chadicus, I'm really hungry, and you're the best cook I know.
That is a very unsettling idea.
I would really love... Could you cook for us?
I can do something of the sort. What kind of provisions do we have? I only have the trail rations.
Well, we are by a river.
Would you
Or
like fish of
my
some sort?
people are very good hunters. I could go catch us something.
Well, I wouldn't need you to do the work. I can probably do it myself. I was just curious to what you would prefer.
Something that tastes good.
Well, I feel like the actual fauna around here have been dealing with the fire, so I'll let them go for this moment. I'm going to cast a spell.
Uh-huh. Conjure animals.
Let's see what we got in this animal like that can go fishing for me kind of range.
A bear?
Technically, I can go get a bear. Let's see what we got going on. I was looking at like the levels, like challenge 1, 2, 3, 8th. Yeah, giant weasels. I want to summon a bunch of giant weasels.
God.
Let's go get all of them. All right. You know what? Actually, these giant toads look fun. Can I summon a bunch of giant frogs that can swallow a bunch of fish and then regurgitate them all like, pleasantly like you do for foods?
Sure?
Yeah. So challenge rating 1. So I get how many of them?
2?
All right. I'll summon 2 giant frogs and just kind of send them into the river to go like mouth agape, grab as many fish as they can.
All right.
Ren is so enchanted by this. She's just sitting there laughing and clapping like a little child.
They come back with 4 fish each. Well more than you would be able to eat in one night.
I don't know. We got Goliath. But I will do whatever checks I need to do to present some sort of feasible dish from this.
Yeah, this sounds like survival.
All right, I can do that. That's this button.
Well, you rolled
You're a feast.
super too well, and I was going to have, like, if you rolled below a 15, I would have been like, well, there's a couple of bones left in there, but it's serviceable. No, it's fucking amazing. You make a very tiny fire, and get them all cooked up, and it's a great evening meal.
I'm wondering if I can like lace a little bit of the flowers I was collecting, so the smoky taste actually is kind of like calming on the palate as well.
Sure.
This is why I asked you, Mr. Chatter, because this is amazing.
Oh, you do me too much honor, but as long as you're enjoying yourself, that's what matters.
I'm telling you, you are really good at this.
I mean, I have the smoke stains in my little cottage to prove that I did the efforts, but still.
Coming soon.
I guess so.
All right. So, yeah, this part of the forest is oddly peaceful. No one accosts you through the night, despite you taking your watches. The smoky smell kind of grows a bit, but strangely, it's calm. All right.
This is a surprisingly good place to sleep.
So, go ahead and another day passes. Morning comes.
Before we do that, since I do have the spell prepared, can I try the commune spell?
Yeah, sure. Who are you talking to?
Well, I'm not doing the religious one.
The smoke detector.
Yeah, I'm talking to my alarm system that my upstairs neighbor just triggered. No, I have.
Now it comes on when we're in the forest.
Of course. I don't have that because I'm a druid. I have commune with nature.
Oh, commune with nature. That's different. Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I gotta. Oh, you already put it up. You briefly in the outdoors with 3 miles of you in caves and the radius is okay. Spells and function where nature's okay. You instantly gain knowledge of the 3 facts of your choice. What are your 3 facts?
So I just get to ask related to them. I want to know if there's any powerful elementals within 3 miles of me.
Within 3 miles of you.
Yes.
Be right back.
Well, not there. So I'm going off of that other paragraph down at the bottom. Your typing is super fucking loud, man.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going off of the paragraph down there where it says, or the last phrase where it says, influence from other planes of existence. So, also, did you copy paste this in? Because it's like, there's a weird thing going on here.
It's just the one where you drop it from the compendium. I haven't changed it anyway.
They didn't write it in right because it says,
I'm not doing that work. That was just compendiums. I'll adjust it so there's something missing.
What is going? Well, no, it's just the. Okay, I gotta look this up on tools. Just give me a hot second.
The hottest of them.
Okay.
Exactly
It's because it was a list. Okay. It's just because it was a list and not formatted right. Okay, you instantly gain knowledge of up to 3 facts of your choice about any of the following subjects: terrain, bodies of water. Next item: prevalent plants, minerals, animals, or peoples. Next item: powerful celestials, fays, fiends, elementals, or undead. Next item: influence from other planes of existence. You sense influence from other planes of existence.
Excellent. And I get to know any details about it, knowledge. So does it gain knowledge, like location, maybe?
You feel a weird, malicious thrumming as you are sort of doing this commune with nature. You can almost hear the forest crying out in a pained way. You can feel beneath you there is something that is conveying a very horrid influence from what you think might be a place of flame and death.
Interesting. Okay, so I got the what's it called? The influence from the other planes of existence. So there wasn't any powerful elementals within the 3 miles.
Not within 3 miles.
Copy. And then I guess the last thing is any towns or structures in the Conadir Forest. So any villages, I guess.
Within 3 miles of you.
Yep. Just going for the scan.
Yeah. Let me see here.
I like to imagine that this is the whole mushroom connection thing.
Yeah,
Like
it does
tree
act a little
thing.
bit like that. Yeah, not within 3 miles of you. 3 miles is pretty... Well, actually, no, that's pretty good.
It's reasonable. I mean, it's a 5th level spell.
It's true. Yeah, you don't sense anything like that. Just that influence from Plane of Fire.
Excellent. Well, with that knowledge, I will now just hit the hay.
Okay. Is there anything else you guys would like to do before I pass this day? Oh. Okay.
No, that was an accident. I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
why that was open.
Got it. Let's see. You awaken. Let's see. That's 24. Okay, so today is the evening of the 25th. Oh, shit. It is the evening of the 25th of Kythron. Past the night, it is now the morning of the 26th of Kythron. The smoke has gotten a little bit worse. You wake up coughing.
I want to reach into my bag and pull out one of those tea bags.
Don't forget that it only works for a minute.
Yeah.
I also haven't made anything happen with mechanics yet.
I understand that. My dude is a little, wussy. I'll collect him more if I can.
Just making sure that you're aware of that. All right.
Can I take
I can-
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I consider that game knowledge. The dude is choking and he's having trouble breathing. He's got to put the thing in.
For sure.
Yeah. Can I take a piece of cloth?
Yeah, certainly.
And just kind of put it in front of my face.
Certainly.
Why are you doing that?
It's to stop the smoke from getting in my mouth and my nose.
Oh, that is a really good idea.
If only we had some crystals, we could cover our eyes.
What?
If we had some crystals, you could cover your eyes.
Why would you put crystals in your eyes?
And you put them over your eyes so you can see through them.
That's very interesting. Is that a hobgoblin thing?
Yes, it's so you can still see but not be... you won't get things in your eyes.
Everyone else kind of understands that goggles are a thing that exists. Stoneflame just doesn't know, because they aren't a thing in Goliath culture, for the most part.
He also probably doesn't need them.
Actually, you know what? He says, oh, I've seen things like that before. They wore a lot of the men in the temple, the temple, if you call it that, they were wearing them. Maybe if we run across them, we can take it from them.
That is a really good idea.
He looks at the rest of the group. What does it look like when Snow collects herself to get up and ready to go? I just want to hear from you, so now you've been very quiet.
She is up earlier than most everyone, and she spends a little time praying, a little time sharpening ice. But whenever she notices the smoke, she does try and find a cloth or something. And she'd probably even tear some cloth off of her vestments or something to cover her nose and her mouth.
Gotcha. What about Bit? Haven't heard from you much either. Nix, are you here? Did she say BRB somewhere? Okay, well. Everyone gets their things together, and you begin heading across the river, which is quite easy. Because one of you is able to just walk on water at will.
Yep, it's me.
Snow Jesus.
She's Snow Jesus.
Back.
Okay, you are BRB. What does it look like when Bit gets her things together? Like to get up and go in the morning? Nix?
She just, well, she hasn't really unpacked anything, so just grabs her bag and is up at the crack of dawn before
Yeah.
everyone else.
And you guys continue on.
Ren offers a ride across the river to Bit, just because she looks so much like a cat. Would you like a ride across the water?
I'd be very appreciated, yes.
So Ren just picks her up and puts her on her shoulders. Just like, like nothing. Like she's grabbing a bag of potatoes.
Fording the river isn't too much trouble. In fact, the water is nice and refreshing. Getting across, and you start making your way down south by southwest per instructions. And you realize as you're walking down that way, you have fully avoided what looks like, what you can see from a distance was this very gnarly, swampy terrain. But even though the ground is firm, the air grows hot as you continue on, and the smoke begins to get thicker. I need everybody to roll a Constitution saving throw.
Ooh, yay, my lungs.
DC 15. You are under the effect of the poison condition. And because I don't want to have to remember this, well, you'll probably have to ask me, but I'm just going to say it now. You'll be under the poison condition until you leave the smoky area and finish a long rest in clean air. Not fun.
Even me?
No, not you. You passed. For now. So as you leave the river behind. Okay. Play. No. Next. Okay. The air grows hot as you continue on. The smoke grows thicker in the air, causing your mind to swim. You can see now, through the trees, embers, flames, and the sound of crackling, splintering wood. In Elvish you hear, so Snow hears, "Keep them back!" And then, "I'm out of spells!" Drawing nearer, through the standing trees you see it, a field of flame and soot far out beyond your line of sight, the canopy gone, a gray sky above. And walking towards the tree line you just emerged from are 6 huge trees, walking of their own volition, burning and screaming. Set yourselves up in a marching order you think is appropriate and roll initiative. As
We came from the east.
I was kind of imagining from up here. So you were going. Oops, wait. So you were going this way. Also, that visible aura around Vardic is his aura. And and then grab. Dogs are barking. Do-do-do. Okay.
Oh, wait a second.
What's up?
That saving throw, everyone would have had +2 to that.
Oh, the DC was 15, so I don't think it would have mattered.
Oh, it still failed, but I think I just remembered that I had to roll this thing twice for initiative. Take the worst one.
Yes, you do have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls as you are poisoned. But if you take the thing, what I call it?
I wish I had remembered that earlier. I would have tried something. Oh well.
Well, you'll have plenty more opportunity. So let me descending. All right, so I'm gonna give these guys an initiative order. Over here, you see a pair of wood elves with the same garb that those others you'd met prior have. I'm going to give them a turn so that we can see them act. Alright, Bit, you're up. As you clear the tree line and you see this field of horror, what do you do? Oh, I need to roll for Stonefang. It's still probably your turn. Yep.
And these guys are
a pair of wood elves. One has a bow and arrow, and the other has what looks like a shield made of a tree stump, and looks like they're pointing and gesturing with their fingers at the trees.
okay. So the trees are on fire.
They're on fire and they're walking on their own, and they are screaming in a weird, like, cracking, wood splintering voice. And they are walking toward the not burned tree line.
Let's, I guess, fight fire with fire and send off some. Yeah, some radiant sunbolts.
All right, zappy zap. That is a hit. You going for this guy?
Yes.
All right. Roll damage. That hits as well. You notice that the radiant sunbolt hits and it lights the tree up. You know when you shine a flashlight, a really bright flashlight on a wood that has like embers, like it's glowing, and you can't see the fire anymore because you've like overpowered it with the light from your flashlight? Looks like that as it hits the tree and causes more splinters to peel off, and it cries out angrily and looks in your direction. That one begins to stamp its way towards... It was initially going this way, but then it saw an attack coming from Bit, and it starts stomping that way. What speed is 30? So it's going to stamp over here. And let's see, what's your H? Can you hit anybody from there? You might be able to, actually. Nope. Alright. So it's going to dash and get all up in Ren and Vardik's face.
I'm gonna use my reaction.
Alright. That's a hit. Oh, Bit, your attacks were at disadvantage because you're poisoned.
She wasn't. She made her save.
I was.
Oh, you made your save. That's right. Sorry. Okay. Let's see here. Alright. Ice cuts through, and it douses some of the flame as it passes through it. And, it turns its attention towards her in a weird way. 11? Shit, not 13. Okay. This one stamps forward, getting to here, and it lashes out at Vardik. For 16 to hit. Miss, as the branch crashes down next to him, as he moves deftly out of the way. This one approaches, moving at a very worrying speed as it gets to here. And hit. Chaticus.
From these attacks, do they look like they make any significant impact on these tree things?
Well, okay, so Snow's attack sliced through its trunk, and it looks like it was a really good hit. So yes, it did make quite a bit of impact. But there's more to cut through before it can be squelched.
Well, I don't think this is the most efficient play, but I gotta do it for flavor. So I'm gonna move past Stoneflame. I'm gonna raise my hand, and like this purple, like kind of necrotic energy is gonna wash over me. I'm gonna cast Blight on this one.
Alright. How can you blight if there's no water? Yeah, okay. What happens? I think...
One thing, I don't know if these are considered plants.
Well, they are? So...
If it is, they take maximum damage and they make their save with disadvantage.
Okay. What's 8 times 8? Somebody figure that out.
Oh, and 8 times 8 is 64, I believe?
Okay. Okay, so disadvantage con save. Alright, it fails. Okay, so, what does this look like? I think what this looks like is so these trees were on fire, and looking at them, there's a few, like, glittery spots because it's not only on fire, but it's also leaking sap. So, the sap dries, and then the tree, like, implodes in on itself, and then it just explodes in a shower of embers. And splinters just fall to the ground. And that's why I call Blight delete enemy.
You just delete it.
Anything else, Chaticus?
No, I've done my arboreal damage. I'm good.
Alright. Vardik.
Alright, Verdict will swing at the one right in front of him.
Okay.
Oh,
By the
yep,
way,
that's disadvantage.
By the way, using the thing is an object interaction. I don't know if I mentioned that. So if you want to use it now, you can.
Okay, well, I already made that first attack, 17.
Alright. That does hit.
Alright. And remembering the tea bag, he'll pop one in his mouth and make a second attack.
Alright. This one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That is a hit. For 13 slashing. Alright. Oh shit, why did I do that? Sorry, wrong one! Hold on, don't do anything. Okay.
Uh-oh.
I took it from yours by accident. This tree looks really fucked up now. You've sliced through its trunk, and it's just got a little sliver
You know what?
holding onto it.
Since it looks really fucked up, like it looks like it's like kind of cracking. Oh god, 2 radiant.
Oh, 2 radiant is not enough.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
As you light it up a little bit more. Alright. And that's the end of Vardik's turn. This tree is going to lumber over to Snow and try to whack her. First, 17.
Yep.
That's going to be 9 bludgeoning and 9 fire. And that's the end of its turn. These wood elves over here, they look very thankful as this one fires off what looks like a... She takes her hand and makes a gesture, and then a little bit of ice forms around this creature here. And it makes her Constitution save. It fails, and it takes a good amount of frost damage as the flames on it start to dampen. And then this one takes a couple of shots. Actually, he said he's out of it. No, he didn't. So he takes a couple of shots, and hitting 2 wastes. Dealing a fair amount of damage. Except not. For reasons. Alright. Stoneflame goes. And he hefts his maul, and he walks over to here. And he just cries out and swings. Oh. He misses. That's embarrassing. Oh wait, no it doesn't. He hits. 13 is our AC. So you watch as the maul bludgeons the creature. The impact of the hammer doesn't do much. However, the fire actually adds, and you see ash start to form on what the creature already had happening. And he'll do it again in a second. Another big hit from Stoneflame. And then Stoneflame calls out, "This seems kind of strange, but I think they're weak to fire, even though they're already on fire." This one lumbers toward the elves over here. And it takes a swing. Missing. Ren.
So Ren pops one of the little bags in her mouth after she watched Vardik do it.
And your
And-
mind clears.
She goes to take a swing at this guy who looks really messed up.
Oh yeah, and you have advantage.
And I have advantage.
Because Vardik has pack tactics, does he not? Or am I thinking about something else? Am I thinking about something else?
No, he doesn't have pack tactics.
I'm thinking about kobolds, my bad. Continue.
Okay, so she takes a normal swing at this guy with her great axe.
Alright. And she just obliterates it. She cuts it down the middle, and it just falls apart.
And so then she walks over to this one to take her second attack. And she is going to hit him with her great axe. She's not raged. Hold on a second. I have to shove that off.
That is a hit.
And then she uses her bonus action to use the end of her axe. So she swings her axe really hard, and it goes to the tree, and then keeps swinging it around and hits it with the back of her axe.
Alright. That is enough to hit. So she notices when the big bludgeoning end of her great axe smacks into the tree that it doesn't have as much purchase as she would hope. These things are resistant to bludgeoning. Anything else?
Well, that's it.
Alright, Snow.
Okay. I would like to cast Ice Storm.
Ooh, what's the area of effect?
It's a 20-foot radius.
Hell yeah. I'll put that at the bottom of the back. To catch both
And I'm
these
gonna
guys.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, first I would like to shove one of those bags into my mouth
Alright.
and start chewing.
Your mind clears. What's the save? Dexterity. Let's see. So 2 of them. 1, 2. They both fail. And let's see. The ice pelts them, and you notice that while the actual chunks of ice don't seem to be doing much, the cold definitely douses the flames enough for this one to fall down and just become part of the burnt foliage. This one, is also quite dead. Good job. I'm gonna put that in the GM layer in case you want to use it again.
And that'll do it.
Alright. This burning, awakened tree walks up to here, and it goes for the elven druid here, bringing a branch down upon her. Ooh. She tumbles down onto her back, quickly getting up. That was her flavor. As you see just a burning wound appear on her scale armor, like the shape of scales. And that's that. Bit.
Bit's gonna go running.
She can
Over
run
here.
far.
And I think I can hit that one.
The range is 30 feet. Unfortunately, yeah, the range is 30 feet. So you'd have to, in order to be able to do it, you'd have to spend a key point for Step of the Wind to dash as a bonus action. Or you could use your Tabaxi thing. Double your move speed.
Yeah, what was that one?
The Tabaxi thing, where you can use double your move speed in a turn.
You just can't move on your next turn.
It should be in your thing.
Okay, let's use that. I don't have to go all the way, right?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna get up to a couple more. I think I'm close enough now.
Alright. Yes, you are.
Okay, let's fire up some sunbolts.
Alright. Nice. Unleash the power of the sun. That's a miss, unfortunately. But you got one more in you. That's a hit. The tree has a few of these pockmarks. You can see, like, sort of sinks down into its own, like, frame, but it's not dead quite yet. Chaticus.
How much murder am I doing? 3.
You see, this one is quite close to the end, but this one seems to be... It's hard to tell, but this one, you hadn't seen it take any hits.
Okay, let's see the range on things. Okay, I'm gonna cast Chill Touch on the right one, and I should have to roll with disadvantage, I believe. Or I can pop in a smoky thing. Is that a bonus action to do the
it's an
smoke
object
thing?
interaction.
Then I will just do that. I'll start munching away, and then I will cast Chill Touch on the one on the right.
All right. Your mind clears, despite the nasty taste of smoke in your mouth. Ooh.
Whoops, I rolled the damage. I didn't roll the hit.
Oh, that is the hit, the damage. Why does it keep happening?
I don't know why. It's been really weird like that. Did they do an update? Because I don't even have a to hit on this thing anymore. Here, I'll just use my thwacking stick. It should have the same modifier, so this will be the hit.
Sure. All right, you hit, and it. The chill touch causes the tree to just fall apart and fall to the ground as is burning foliage. Good turn. All right. Bardic, pretty far from the action now. There you are.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot I could do. I guess he'll just double movement and try to dash over as far as he can.
All right.
That'll be it.
This one casts another spell at this one. This wood elf. Let's see. He needs to make a Constitution saving throw. He passes. As you see this ice start to form around this creature, but it seems to just poof away because of the heat. Stone Flame starts jogging past Chaticus. There's only one left. I wonder if I'll get to it before it gets put down. And that's all he can do. This burning awakened tree is going to attempt to hit this wood elf here. Barely missing him. Ren.
So, Ren is going to run up next to Stoneflame using her action to actually dash to.
Mm-hmm. She can get a little... Oh wait, no she can't, never mind. Well, she could if they're in a race, but...
Right, she just stands next to Stoneflame and says, the next time it comes close to us, let's just kill it.
That's the plan! Snow.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna dash.
Okay.
And then I think that's all I can do.
Hit.
She's gonna move a little bit closer to the tree and fire off some more sunbolts.
Alright. That's a hit. That's also a hit. 7 and a total of 12. And the sunbolts crack. It's like there's an impact as you hear this crack as each one hits the burning tree. Anything else?
I'll leave it at that.
Jadicus.
All right, fat man coming. 10, 20, 30. I want to do it again.
Again. That's a hit. For 2. All right.
As I tickle it. Tickle its little leaves.
One small flame goes out, but then it's quickly reignited. Anything else?
Oh, no, I don't do things. That'll be it.
Vardic.
All right, Verdict will move. Oh my god. You can just get not close enough.
Where were you before?
It would have been 31 and a half movement.
Oh, that's... No. Go ahead and take it. I'll round down a foot, especially when you're wielding a greatsword.
Yeah. All right. Well, he will attack.
That's a hit.
Oh shit! I meant to do. All right.
9.
All right, and remembering what his good friend Stoneflame said, he will mutter a phrase in Goblin. It just sounds like, I don't know how to make Goblin sounds, but he'll cast Sneering Smite and make a second attack.
Sneering Smite.
Smearing Smite.
It's just a very rude gesture. That's a hit.
Right.
For 11
It also needs to make a DC 14 con save.
All right. Well, that won't be necessary. So the blade alights in the fire, and you slash through, and you hear these cracks and pops, and all of the burning foliage just falls down and stops moving. And you're out of initiative. Thank you, says the Wood Elves. And they start walking toward you. That was just a small splinter group.
Thank you for helping us in that battle.
Thank you, he says. You were described to us. Especially her. He gestures to Bit. You're very distinct. Maeve and Rayrden, they went that way, and they point in a direction, which is, you kind of realize that it's a more westerly direction.
Are they far ahead?
It's a bit of a walk, but if you wish to catch up with them, it is the quickest way.
Are you what?
She'll join you, and you notice that she is hurt. And she has a nasty like welt and a few embers that she's patting out on her armor.
I go to reach her and do you mind?
Are you a healer?
I possess some ability, yes. Yes, I do.
She shakes her head and she says, "It won't be necessary. I can take care of myself." As you see her close her eyes for a moment, and you just see her sort of welt on her body just start to stitch and heal up.
Oh. I see.
She says, I'll save this for next session, but I'll just say it, since we're already here. She says, oh, my brain stopped. You know what? She was going to say a thing next session.
Okay.
Bye, Joy.
Bye, Joy.
Bye, Joy.
Bye, Joy.
Good night.
Okay.